On Saturday, many of my friends and family across Caracas, Venezuela, were woken up in the middle of the night by the sound of airstrikes and exploding bombs. And a few hours later, at a press conference held at Mar-a-Lago, the world learned why. US Special Forces had carried out a military operation to arrest Venezuelan dictator Nicolás Maduro and extradite him to the United States. Now, to be clear, Venezuelans here in the United States and around the world, we're glad that Maduro will face justice for his reign of terror. But with him out of the picture and his second-in-command now in charge, the question becomes, ¿y ahora qué? What comes next? And let's just say, Donald Trump isn't exactly being subtle about his answer.
We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition.
The president said the U.S. military is ready to launch a second, bigger wave of attacks if Venezuela does not do what he says.
That's right. Hours after deposing Maduro, Donald Trump stood in front of the world and said America would temporarily run the country while U.S. oil companies would be brought in to fix the oil sector. We didn't hear a word about the Venezuelan people, about human rights, not a word about why the administration didn't seek congressional authorization or how this helps the American people. For Trump, it's all about power, profit, and oil. Now, to understand why all of this is happening, we have to go back to last summer, when the Trump administration started bombing boats they alleged were carrying drugs. That's the same justification used to depose and extradite Maduro, that they carried out a warrant for his arrest on narco-terrorism charges. That argument falls apart pretty quickly when you realize that the last head of state from Latin America who was convicted on drug charges just received a full pardon from Trump. In fact, you haven't heard much about drugs at all in the days after the raid. What you have heard a lot about is oil. Why? Because Venezuela is home to the largest proven crude oil reserves in the world. Not Saudi Arabia, not Iran, Venezuela. Oil interests are clearly top of mind for Trump. His administration even contacted oil executives first, before alerting Congress about the attack.
This is the Trump foreign policy, if you want to call it that. It is a combination of bullying and corruption, just trying to line the pockets of his billionaire donors in the largest companies.
Trump is even bragging about reimbursing those same oil companies for rebuilding Venezuela's crumbling infrastructure. Think about that. Reimbursing oil companies for something that experts estimate could cost anywhere between $80 to $90 billion over 6 to 7 years. Who's gonna foot the bill? It's gonna be American taxpayers. So when Trump says that the US will run Venezuela until transition, here's what he's really saying. We're gonna control the oil until the profits are secured, or in other words, America's gonna run another country indefinitely. And if this is starting to sound familiar, it's because it is. Venezuelans like my family deserve better than Trump's empty rhetoric and false hope. And Americans, we deserve clarity from Trump and Marco Rubio so that we don't just stumble into more foreign, endless conflicts that leave Americans footing the bill.